Come on girls, come on boys, it's your future, it's your choice, and your weapon is your voice. Let's make a new tomorrow today.
Hi, I'm Neil Darby. I'm the Tulketh campaigner for the Liberal Democrats. I'm also the Liberal Youth Chair for the region in the North West. And I'm here today to tell you about what I do, who I am, and why you should care. My major interests revolve around community campaigning, getting things done in the local area. Also, as obviously I'm involved in a lot of Liberal youth things, I'm really into youth affairs and what we can do to help younger people in the country, in the region and in Preston. And I'm also interested in transportation, especially public transport. I've been using public transport on a daily basis ever since I was 11. I started going to school a number of miles away from where I lived. And I think it's really important that people who look into public transport policy actually use public transport, because then they know what they're dealing with, they know what people have to put up with. If your train is late every day, or if your train is overcrowded every day, your bus doesn't turn up, whatever the problem is, if you're experiencing that day in, day out, you know exactly where the biggest problems are with the public transport system, and then you're best placed to actually look to deal with it. When it comes down to youth issues, a lot of it recently, especially around the Liberal Democrats, is based around tuition fees. There's more to it than that. I will come back to fees in a later vlog, but right now it's a whole topic in and of itself. Another thing that we need to look at with universities is how we can actually help them nowadays. There's a lot of smaller universities like the University of Central Lancashire UCLan in Preston, which have a lot of pressure on them at the moment, and we need to look into how we can actually help relieve that pressure and help them to move on. To say with the example of UCLan, UCLan is one of the best assets that Preston has, and it's important that we do all we can at all levels, national, county, city level, to help them. To look into this, mainly as my role through the Liberal Youth, the regional chair, but also through my local contacts in Preston. I felt it was important to actually go and speak to Rennie, who's the Student Union President at UCLan. We had a very constructive conversation, and we talked about how we can help alleviate the pressure, what we can do for Liberal Youth to help influence the government to help these smaller institutions to be the very best that they can be for the benefit of both the students and for the areas where they inhabit. Another thing that I discussed with the president of the Student Union was as much about what the Student Union can give back into the community, as well as what we in the community can help them with. One of the biggest issues of that was waste disposal, recycling, things like that. A lot of the problems around Tulketh revolve around rubbish and fly tipping, and we tend to find in a lot of cases, not all of them, they tend to be in areas where you've got rented accommodation, which is naturally where the students tend to live. And what we want to do is we want to get to a situation where we can try and help both the students avoid things like fines, but obviously we want to help the local residents improve the area. So the natural link between the two is the student union. What we're going to try and do is get to the point where the student union is informed when there's an issue in an area where students live, and then they can write to the students to let them know that there's a problem there, let them know what the proper way to deal with their waste and recycling and so on is. And therefore it will help improve the area, and it will stop the student getting a rather rude note through their door from Preston City Council requesting that they pay a £1,000 fine. The refuse in Preston is collected once every fortnight, and that's interspersed with the recycling collections, which is the in-between weeks of those. In the Tulketh area, after the collections are taken, we tend to find that there's a bit of a problem sometimes with litter flying around, whether that's from paper that's blown out of recycling bins after they've been collected, or whether bins have been overfilled and you've got rubbish coming out the top. It's not nice, and it does need to get sorted out. A lot of the time the sweepers are very good and they do get these cleared up, but we do need to make sure that it happens more often. What you can find is that an area where you get a little bit of littering around one week can then pile up to actual fly tipping and rubbish dumping the week after. It's a bit of a snowball effect, and it's something that we really need to stop. One of the things that the Liberal Democrats do, and I do, it's one of the things that separates us out from the other parties, is that we talk to you to find out what your issues are, and then we take your issues to whatever the relevant body is, whether it's the county council, whether it's the city council in Preston or borough council elsewhere, and then we actually try and get those sorted. What we do as well is, if you bring an issue to us on the doorstep, we can then take that issue to our party conference in September, and we can take that up all the way to Westminster, to Parliament, and we can actually try and get those things sorted out. If you look at things like the NHS reforms, a lot of people on the doorstep told us that they were concerned about the reforms that were being pushed through by the Conservatives. What we saw is, in our spring conference, we took those concerns to the leadership and we forced through a motion which has meant the NHS bill is now a lot more friendly. It's like what you told us that you want, and that's what we take pride in actually doing as the Liberal Democrats. We get out on the doorstep, we talk to people, we find out what it is that we can do to help you in your local area. We're the party who's out there talking to you throughout the year. We're the party who's on your streets in August, not just in April asking for your vote. I got involved in the Liberal Democrats a few years ago because they've always stood for what I believe in and they fight for what is right. They're not always on the popular side, but they always stand by their morals and then they fight for those. I found it really important that there was a party there that fought for what I believed in. For example, just the Liberal side of the Liberal Democrats is about fighting for the individual, about letting people do their own thing, not about the state telling them what they have to do. The way that this translates in modern day politics is that we're the party that talk to people on the doorstep and find out what we can do on all levels of government, be it national or local level, and find out what we can do to actually enable you to do what you want to do, how we can help. The party has proved itself to me time and time again. When there's an issue that comes up, they always seem to take the side that is right, not necessarily the side that is popular, and they stick by that through thick and thin. Thanks for watching my video today. I really do appreciate the time. If you have any issues in the Tulketh area of Preston, do get in touch. I know you don't always have the time to take these things up with your council or anything yourself, so get in touch with me and I will do whatever I can to help out. I'd love to get involved. If you'd like to discuss any national or any other issues with me, get in touch again. You can find my email address in the blog. The address for that is just down there if you're on YouTube, or if you're on the blog already, fantastic, you found it. My email address is just up there. Do feel free to email me with any comments, queries, anything at all to do with Tulketh. My Twitter address is @liberal_Neil. You can find it in the description below. Do follow me. I'd love to see you on there and have a good conversation with you on there. If you're watching on YouTube, please take the time to like the video, and if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get plenty more of me in the future, which I know is just what you want.
Come on girls, come on boys, it's your future, it's your choice, and your weapon is your voice. Let's